There is something about summer that makes us want our homes to feel a little lighter, a little calmer, and a little more relaxing. Today, I am creating 5 elegant summer-inspired DIYs designed to bring that feeling into your home using budget-friendly supplies and a little creativity. Hi, I'm Loli. Let's create something beautiful and find a little joy along the way. Now I'm transforming this little crate into a beautiful coastal piece. I am starting by painting it with Rust-Oleum white chalk paint, and I wanted a little bit of texture with this. I wanted to give it a kind of like a salt wash look. So I took a leftover mixture of baking soda and chalk paint, and I mixed a little bit of paint into that just to give it a very faint amount of texture. And I just gave it another coat with that. Once it dried, I took one of these stencils from Dollar Tree, and it has these beautiful coastal or marine seaside designs. And I decided to use this seashell. I just cut it off on there so it will fit on here. And I just used some masking tape to position it in place. I added the masking tape all the way around the entire stencil so it will not move as I stencil it. Once I made sure it was straight, I made sure that that was nicely adhered to the surface so it will not move around. Then I took one of these sponge brushes and this moss color from Waverly, and I'm adding a small amount to my dauber brush. I don't want it to bleed, so it's always best to use the least amount of paint. And then I just kept pouncing up and down until the entire stencil was covered in the paint, and I had all the nooks and crannies of the stencil covered as well. Now comes the reveal. Look how cute that came out. Oh! All right, now we are going to take some of this resin that I found at Dollar Tree. It is from Veritane Super Glaze in the color turquoise. However, when you mix it, you got to mix it in equal parts. The blue is part A, so I'm pouring that one on there now. Usually they tell you to pour them in 2 different containers and then pour them together after that so you can measure. Here I'm doing my best form of measurement, or my favorite, which is eyeballing it. So I just did that. Once I saw that it was half of each, then I'm going to take some of this yellow resin tincture, and I added first about 3 to 4 drops on there. I am starting with a little bit first and mixing it. I wanted to have more of a turquoise color, like a true turquoise color, because right now it was blue. So I mixed it and it wasn't quite the color that I was going for. So I added about, I would say 8 more drops of that yellow in there and mixed it well as well. And if you see here, I'm being vigorous. Usually with resin, you have to go slow to avoid bubbles. I really didn't care with the bubbles, so that's why I'm going like that. And once that I'm happy here with the color, we're going to pour it on the center of that tray after the stencil has dried. And I'm just going to make sure I get everything in there. I made sure I had enough that it will cover the entire bottom of my tray. And here I'm just moving that resin around the entire bottom of the tray, making sure that it doesn't go too far up on the walls of the tray. I just wanted to cover just the bottom section. So I just kept moving it around and allowing it to go to the little nooks and crannies and areas of the tray here until the entire thing was completely covered. And then I just set it aside to dry. The next day, once it was dry, we're going to come in and take some twine. I'm going to take some of this twine from Dollar Tree. I just did a amount that will be long enough to wrap around. I double it in half as you see there, just so it'll be easier. And then I double it in another half here to do 4 pieces, just so it's quicker for me to just burn off the fuzzies. And I really think that it gives it a more finished look. And now we're going to unravel it. We're going to keep it in just 2 halves as you see there. And I'm going to just wrap it on the handle there. This technique I learned from my friend Audia from DIY with Audia, and it is so much quicker. It's like you wrap in twice as fast. I used to do it with just 1 strand. This is so much faster. Thank you, Audia, for the tip. And I just went around until the top section of that handle was completely covered. Once I got here to the end, I'm going to just add a little bit of hot glue right there and then tack it down that piece of twine and then cut off the excess. And I repeated the same on the other side as well. Next, I took these 4 little pumpkin things that come from Dollar Tree, and I thought these would be the perfect little feet for this. So I'm going to remove the little stem that it came here. Use some little pliers to do that. I just wiggled it and pulled and it came right off. And then I'm going to take some of this berry stain that I got from Dollar Tree and stain them, and look how beautiful they look. They look just like driftwood, don't they? We're going to flip this over once again, and we're going to add some wood glue. I'm going to add wood glue to the part where the stem would have been, and making sure that I'm generous so it adheres everything. I did the same thing to all 4 pieces, and we are going to position these in the 4 corners of our little tray. And just like that, they have little driftwood feet. And that is it for this project. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this one. Will you have done something differently, or do you love it just the way that it is? Let me know in the comment section below. You are never going to guess what this is going to become. We took some of these shells from the Dollar Tree. These were meant, I think, to cover your, your girls, but I don't know how can this truly cover your girls. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and remove all of this twine that it comes with. We're going to just use the shells, and I'm going to cover up those holes using some of this lightweight spackle from the Dollar Tree. I'm adding it to the inside, but I'm smoothing both the inside and the outside so the finish will be nice in both sides. And I repeated that with both the shells, covering all of the holes. Then I gave both of them a coat with Rust-Oleum and a white chalk paint. But they still has some imperfections, so I came in with a mixture of my linen white chalk paint and some baking soda. And we're going to create more of a ceramic look. I wanted this to look expensive, and I wanted it to look real. And right now it was just giving me plastic painted look, and that is not what I was going for. So I added some of my baking soda to a container and then added some paint. For some reason, I couldn't find my syringe. I finally found it. I found this is the most efficient way to remove paint from my paint can and add it to a different container without making a mess. And then I just mixed both of them together until I had it to the consistency that I wanted. It's like a thicker paint, but it's also going to coat the surface so it will look more like the material is ceramic instead of plastic. And I gave it 2 coats, but very light coats because I did not want to lose the beautiful shape and the indentations of the seashell. Then I just set them aside to dry, and this is what they look like. But I wanted them to have this iridescent look, so I'm going to use this white paint, and look how pearly white beautiful that looks. I'm going to put them to the side for now and take 4 tumbling tower blocks and paint them gold. And with the same brush that I used to paint the tumbling tower blocks, I'm going to just rub them towards the little raised pieces of the seashell. And look how that brings out that beautiful design, and they just makes it look so elegant. And I repeated that in the inside of the seashell as well, going in the opposite way, so I'm only hitting the raised areas. And I did the same thing with the other one. Now we are going to position our tumbling tower blocks in groups of 2, as you see there, standing up. And I'm adding some of my Tide Bond Quick and Thick to the middle right here on both of them. And then I'm going to raise, or actually I'm going to position my seashells right on top of those, just sitting them exactly where they fall, making sure that everything is straight. And I'm going to let them sit and dry. Then I came in with some of my gold rub and buff, and I'm going to put some on my finger and then run it in all of the edges of the seashell. I think this just brings it to a new level. It just looks way more elegant, and that is exactly the look that I'm going for. And I repeated this all the way around the entire seashell, and the same thing with the other one. And that is it for this one. Let me know what you think. This one is so easy yet so beautiful. We're gonna start with some baking soda, add it into a container, and then we're gonna mix in some of our rust-oleum linen white chalk paint. Here I'm just crushing up any little pieces of baking soda that were kind of clumpy. And then I'm taking my syringe here to remove some of the paint without making a mess and add it into the container with my baking soda. Then I'm just going to use my same brush and mix everything together. Once the paint is nice and smooth, we are going to use it to cover this beautiful vase. But first, we're going to give it a good cleaning using one of these Simply Clean wipes from the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to keep the bottom section gold, so I'm going to take some masking tape and tape off this entire bottom section. And now that our piece is nicely prepared, we are going to give it a nice coat using this baking soda and chalk paint mixture. I did a full coat in both the outside and the inside of the entire bowl, making sure to keep close attention to the edges so those are also nicely covered. And here there was an edge that was a little bit messy, so we're coming back in once that first coat dried and then just covering up those edges as well. Then, after everything dried, I'm going to give it a nice coat of rust-oleum linen white chalk paint just to cover any brush strokes that still show some of the glass. And this is what it looked like once it was done. Now we are going to remove the tape from the vase. Next, I took my rub and buff in the color Gold Leaf, and we are going to apply it right here onto this metal section. I started by adding a little bit onto my brush so I don't get it onto the white. I put it right here in the corner of my brush, so I'm able to go very close right here and apply it. And once I went all the way around doing this in this section, I added rub and buff to the rest as well to give this a new life. My friend, if you enjoyed this video so far, please don't forget to hit the like button and let me know in the comment section where you're watching from. I love to know how far my videos are reaching. And share, because sharing is caring and it helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. And I went all the way around the entire surface, rubbing and buffing. And look at the difference. Look how beautiful that looks. And I did the same thing to the inside portion. We are also going to apply it right here to the rim. To do that, I opted to use my fingers. I'm just going to take a nice amount of the rub and buff, put it on my finger, and then just run it all over the entire section until I go all the way around. I actually gave it 2 passes to remove any areas that were still white and to have everything be even. And that is it for this one. Let me know what you think. Today's video is part of the Talented Creators collaboration that is hosted on the 3rd Saturday of every month by my friend Audia from DIY with Audia, myself Loli from Loli's Creations, and this month we have the privilege of having the talented Cindy from Z9 Designs. This month is all about coastal and summer decor. The links to our channels and the playlist will be linked in the description box below, so head on over to the channels, the playlist, and show everyone some love. This one was so satisfying. We're going to use some sand that I had from somewhere I traveled. One of these canvases from the Dollar Tree and a frame from the Dollar Tree. We're going to remove the packaging from the canvas. And we are going to take some of this paint from Folk Art in the color Camel. I'm going to start by adding some to the bottom section of my canvas right here. And I'm going to spread it nicely all the way across. I'm just going in. I'm not being very careful. I don't need it to be straight. I just want to have a nice amount on here and some good coverage. I just kept going until I felt, you know what, this is tall enough. I wanted this portion to have some texture. So I just started stippling the paint here. And I'm going to come in with my sand on top of this stippling. I'm just going to just sprinkle some sand over the entire surface, trying to be very light. I wanted to make sure that I have that consistent throughout the whole area so it looks very, very realistic. Then I'm going to just pat that down using my paintbrush with the same paint that it has already on there. And I just came in with some more paint. I added more paint to the brush also and put it on top so just everything remains nice and sealed. And this just gave me the perfect look for sand using real sand and some paint. Look at that texture. All right, now we're going to take some of this white paint from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add some right here, right above that sand. And I'm going to take a clean brush and just begin just stippling it on. But I'm bringing it in onto the sand as well, and I'm deliberately making it irregular because can you tell what I'm making? I'm not going to tell you yet. Let's see if you know. If you know at this point, let me know in the comment section below. I'm just going to just add some right here, making sure that it's not even, just making it look frothy. Then I came in with some Dutch Aqua from Folkart, and we're going to add some right here above the white. And I'm using the same paintbrush that I used for the white to disperse this one as well. I'm just going to begin stippling it, and you see how the white and that color begins mixing, and you have a beautiful, look of the same frothiness that you have in the bottom section here. And I just kept doing that and going higher and higher as I'm going along until I get to about that 2 to 3 inch width on this band. Apparently I kept going a little bit higher up. All right, so once that was done, we're going to come in with this other color right here. This is Atlantis from Apple Barrel. We're going to add a band of that right here. And again, I'm using the same paintbrush that I used for the previous color, and it still has some white in it also. And we're going to spread it right here and use the same stippling effect that we used for the first 2 layers here. And I just kept going and going, just mixing. In any places that I felt that we needed some white, I just kind of did my brush sideways so the white will hit that. And then when I get to this section here, you see me kind of blending the 2 colors together. And we are going to just expand it higher up as well and add some more white from the sides also. And that just gives it a little bit more variation in color and more depth. Then I began blending the 2 colors here, right here where they join in, using a smaller brush. And then I came in with the other brush, just going in the same direction, using it to blend these 2 colors together so they have a nice seamless transition. Look how beautiful that's looking. All right, now we're going to come in with this Tuscan teal from Apple Barrel. We're going to add a band of that as well. And again, using the same brush without washing it off, we are coming in and adding a band of that color also, doing the stippling effect that we did for all the previous bands, expanding it higher up, adding some white that I have left over on the brush just to add more depth and also make it look like we have some frothing right here too. And then we just keep blending and blending until I was happy with the color we have left behind. And then using the same brush, we're going to begin blending the 2 colors right here. Just brushing side to side, blending those 2 until they look nice and seamless. And what do you think of this one so far? Well, we are not done yet. Once we are done blending this piece, I'm going to come back with some of the white from Dollar Tree and add it to the top section right here. And using the same brush that we used before, we are going to just blend that blue with the white to come up with a very much lighter blue. And this is a sky blue. Look how beautiful that's looking. We're going to blend it, making sure that it's touching the other color. And then I'm going to blend the 2 seams of this with the brush, again using this back and forth motion until those 2 colors fade together and they blend in seamless. Now we're going to put this to the side to dry. Look how beautiful that's looking. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of myself. I want to be there right now with an umbrella. All right, then we're going to take one of these frames from the Dollar Tree. And these canvases fit these frames perfectly. So we're going to remove the glass and the backing. And this is going to go right in here. You want to just position it on there and close those tabs. Be very careful that you don't break them off. They're kind of fragile. And then we have a beautiful art piece. But we are not done yet. You know already, this is Loli, so we're not done yet. I'm going to grab some of these little seashells that I collected through the years. I have some that I bought, some that I collected, and I'm going to add 4 of these. Here, I was going to add this red one, then I'm like, you know what? It looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So I decided to flip it and use this other one instead for that serene look. And then I decided to use this other one that kind of looks like a piece of I don't know if it's quite a seashell, but it's more flat. And we are going to glue them onto the bottom here where our sand is. My friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified each time I upload a new video. All these things are free and they mean the world to me. And with this is the end of this project. Please don't forget to let me know in the comments section what do you think about this one. I absolutely love it. This one is so simple, but so stinking cute. We're going to use these frames that I got from Dollar Tree, one of these sand dollars, one of these starfish, that other ceramic starfish, and some burlap from the Dollar Tree. We're going to start by removing the packaging off of each one of the frames. Then we're going to remove the backing from them. I started first. Once I got the backing off, I figured it would be easier to remove this. Oh, no, let's just lift it, right? No, it was a hot mess. So after like 15 minutes of trying to tear that off, I gave up. So I decided, you know what, we're going to use the back instead. I'm going to take the burlap fabric that I got from Dollar Tree. I got this some years back. I haven't seen it this year. And I'm going to cut a section that will be big enough to cover the back end piece. At first, I thought I was going to just fold it over and have that fabric kind of fold over the back. But then I changed my mind shortly. So this is why you'll see about an inch here that I had cut. And I repeated the same thing with the other two pieces also. The burlap was a little bit wrinkled, so it was a little bit harder to keep it straight. So I started here by just adding a bit of hot glue on the edge here of the front, which will now be the back of our project. And I folded the burlap fabric over it. And I'm using my scissors to help me here to avoid burning myself with the hot glue, even though I don't burn myself that much anymore. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. But here I decided, you know what? Let's just do it on this side because I'm not going to be able to see the hot glue when I'm done. And I'm just going to just pull really, really tightly here. So everything is nice and straight. And I removed that wrinkle that it had. And I held it in place there until it dried. Then I just trim off the excess burlap from the sides. If you do this project, I would say just, I would think I will do it the same because you still have leeway to be able to tighten. You need to have some space so you can hold the fabric. Or you can just go ahead and iron the fabric and avoid yourself this hassle. Then I added hot glue to the other sides and held it taut until I made sure that everything was straight. And once everything was adhered properly, I came in and trim off the excess burlap from all of the three sides. For the other two, I did that process without gluing down the edge and reposition my pieces back onto my frames as you see right there. And they look beautiful just like this. But we are going to go a step further. I'm going to take my starfish and we are going to adhere it to the middle of one of these. And I'm going to take the sand dollar and do the same. I wanted to add one to this one right here. And I'm going to just add hot glue on the edges of the starfish that will be actually hitting the surface. One of them kind of just floats in the air. And we're going to make sure that it's nicely centered. Then I did the same thing with the sand dollar. I added hot glue all over the areas that will be higher up or raised up that will be touching the burlap. And then position my sand dollar right there in the middle. And for the middle one, I decided to use this beautiful blue starfish. And we are going to add hot glue on all of the ends. And here I'm adding hot glue and not another type of adhesive that is more permanent because I want to be able to change this in the future if I want to. And that is it for this one. Please let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, here are a couple more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing. Bye.